Ty Park. Any true reptile hobbyist knows who Ty Park is. They know how much he's actually contributed to this hobby and moving it forward. There's no denying that. But recently, there's been some problems with Florida Fish and Wildlife involving a lawsuit with animals potentially escaping. And with that, there's been some talk from influential breeders saying negative things about him. Now, being someone who actually has gone to Iguanaland and seen it firsthand, seen the care firsthand, and actually met Ty Park in person, I wanted to contribute my perspective. I don't like seeing a good man trash, so let's get to this video and let's talk a little bit about Ty Park and Iguanaland. Hey guys, how's it going? You know, it's the beginning of a new year. I'll be completely bald. Yellow Aki, reptile. Hey guys, how's it going? This video, pretty difficult to make. I don't particularly like making videos focused on one particular person and what they're doing and if that's great or bad or whatever. I think you get what I mean. And also, whether you're on the good or bad side of some bad controversial topic, usually that's not always good press. So, sorry Ty, you didn't want me to make this. I thought about asking Ty directly, but I just wanted to move forward with it because I just don't like seeing a good man trashed, like I said. Look, there's been times in the past where I've stood by silently in a situation when someone was getting some negative press, someone I respected, someone who I've always thought was a good keeper and a good person. And I did that because I didn't want to be connected to that negativity. I feel like there's a lot of pressure.
Why is the oven not on? I'm not sure, Chef. I'm sorry. You're not sure. You donkey!
On you as a YouTuber in this niche especially, but probably any niche, to kind of be friends with everyone because you don't know where that'll lead. You don't know if, you want to reach out to them for a collab or something. And I'm sure I'm going to burn some bridges with this video, particularly the people against Ty Park, but Ty Park is really the nicest, kindest individual I've ever interacted with in this hobby. So being that I recently kind of turned over a new leaf and am being a little bit more vocal and not worrying about the people hating me out there, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with Ty Park and why I think it's a load of bullcrap and how people are really kind of manipulating some of the issues that went on with him and what I saw at Iguanaland. So let's really hop into the details. First, let's get into this issue, the one between Florida Fish and Wildlife and Ty Park that really sparked the bulk of this negativity towards Ty Park and Iguanaland. Now, apparently there are a lot of reptiles around Iguanaland that are annoying neighbors and are not really typically found in the Florida native ecosystem. Obviously, this was all investigated by Florida Fish and Wildlife, but there was really no strong connection between Iguanaland and these reptiles. Ty claimed they were not his, as a lot of people tended to drop off their reptiles that they couldn't care for at Iguanaland and leave it around there, being that there's not a lot of nonprofits in the area that can go ahead and do that for them. Now, there was one confirmed incident of escapees, a couple monitor lizards, I believe, but get this, a Florida Fish and Wildlife official just before the escape investigated that enclosure and gave their stamp of approval. So this really just speaks to the errors humans make, the mistakes they make, and I kind of want to just continue this conversation about human error and escapees because this actually happens quite often. By the way, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit that bell as well for more controversial topic discussions. We're really focusing on them within the reptile community lately. So make sure you do that, and let's continue on. Controversial opinion alert, woo! I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say something you guys probably don't want to hear from me, and that's, I kind of get the concern from Florida Fish and Wildlife about hobbyists, escapees with hobbyists. I don't know how else to say that, but just people in Florida who own herps and their reptiles, being that it's such a great state to have them outdoors, getting away and getting into the ecosystem and then starting an invasive population. One thing I've really come to learn, like I said, is that escapees actually happen quite a bit. you just really don't recognize it as much. I mean, Camp Kedden recently talked about how his black dragon got out. I've talked to a couple pretty reputable people who have escapees, but the good thing about most of them is they live in more northern states or northern areas where they cannot do outdoors, so they usually can find them within the household or the building they house them in. Point is, all my investigating since all this tegu ban stuff has led me to the conclusion that there is a strong possibility of animals, of reptiles, escaping from outdoor enclosures in Florida. And that's a Florida problem, like I said. Maybe it's a Texas problem too. I don't know why they're doing so good, but I can see how this is unique to Florida and a very big concern for Florida Fish and Wildlife and people who want to protect the environment. Anyway, how does this connect to Ty Park and the conversation about Iguanaland? I don't really see it as Ty Park's fault or Iguanaland's fault if occasionally an escapee gets out or something like that. Sometimes human error gets the best of us, and sometimes just pure dumb luck is against us because, again, in the incident of Camp Kedden's black dragon, there was a tree that just damaged the enclosure and allowed the black dragon to escape. That's not his fault, but it's something you deal with the weather and just how random everything can be in the outdoors. If you're following your state's enclosure guidelines and they're giving their check of approval and it doesn't typically happen to you, you don't get many escapees, I think you're doing the best possible job you can do, and there is no issue with what you're doing, how you're doing it, and people are just sort of overreacting to it because there's a little bit of jealousy. I guarantee any of these more influential critics of Ty Park have had plenty of escapees themselves. Any bigger breeder out there with more than maybe a dozen animals definitely experiences an escapee or two. I've got less than a dozen animals and I've had one incident of an escapee, but lucky for me, that escapee was indoors and I was able to find that escapee. If it was outdoors, I probably would not have that reptile right now, and I would have contributed to a problem of a reptile escaping into its non-native ecosystem. So truly, none of us could really come after Ty Park one escapee incident without being a little hypocritical, I think. And while I don't always think this is applicable, I do think in this case there is a risk versus reward aspect. Just think of all of what Ty Park is doing. He's opening up this reptile zoo in Florida, a great place for herps and wildlife as it is, what it's known for, and he's going to be educating the public. He already is doing that with private tours. He's going to be doing research there. He's keeping some of the most endangered species there to promote conservation. The stuff he's doing there is definitely worth one escapee incident. I mean, you're telling me actual zoos in the United States have sometimes tigers get out, sometimes people getting into enclosures, and people aren't giving them super bad press and trying to cancel them. Come on, guys, think about this in the wider perspective. Now, the last thing I want to add on is this. There's a lot of a-holes in this community, especially among those people who have some sort of a reputation. It gets to their head pretty easily. I've heard and dealt with some pretty horrible things by just trying to interact with this community, reach out to people and learn from them. It's quite upsetting, but someone who has quite a bit of status and is the kindest, most welcoming person I've ever met is Ty Park. He is so friendly and really just wants to include people with that passion for reptiles in his work or in what he does. He invited me down. He showed me everything. He was open about everything, telling me things that he doesn't even want the public to know. It wasn't timely yet. It was deals in the work. It wasn't anything bad, guys. He really just wants to give people the opportunity to be as thrilled about reptiles as he is, further the education of them, and for someone who doesn't even have 10,000 subscribers, for someone he probably has really never heard of in the past, to just invite them down and show them everything for a place that's not even open yet, that is quite kind and nice, and he's always been very responsive with the amount of probably contacts he gets. So I gotta say, I want to see more of people like him in the hobby, and I do think that we should not be going after someone who is as kind and generous and helpful towards this hobby and towards reptiles as he is. In my mind, thinking about this whole entire thing, the grander scheme of things, I think we just need to learn how to be nicer to each other and not make it as much of a competition. I think when we get a little too competitive, then, I don't know, the animals start to suffer a little bit. I always think a little bit of competition is always nice, but when it gets to the part where you're just trying to throw someone under the bus because it might better your business or better your position, then I think it's going a little too far, and we're actually just ending up hurting ourselves and making us more vulnerable to laws and people who want to bring us down. So think about that. Take it as it is. I'd love to hear your thoughts in a comment below. Specifically, I'd love to hear your thoughts on where it's your problem, the keeper's problem, for letting an escapee happen, or when you can kind of chalk it up to dumb luck or just human error, something that happens. Where's your fine line? You guys kind of heard mine here today. Alrighty guys, that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I'd appreciate you commenting, and subscribing. That would mean so much to me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, everyone.